there guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's officially Friday, you've made it through another week, so congratulations. But we're here to talk about some Marvel news. So it looks like Rob Liefeld, the creator behind the Deadpool character, has come out and said that he's severing ties with Marvel and that he no longer wants to work with them. Based on the bad reception and the behavior of Marvel, he feels that he hasn't been treated well and basically just wants to cut all ties with the Marvel company. So we're going to dive into this article, see exactly what Rob Liefeld, the Deadpool creator, had to say, and see what the reasons are behind the breakdown of this relationship between Rob Liefeld and Marvel. And let's just get into the kind of nuances of what's going on with this news story. But I do want to say, just before we go ahead, neither of us were in the room. Neither of us have, read the communications between Marvel and Rob Liefeld. We don't know exactly what's said. We don't know where the truth lies in this story. So we have to approach this news story from a fan perspective, that we don't know all the angles, that we're not privy to all the knowledge about the communications and exactly what's going on. So we have to kind of, try and, like I say, look at it from a fan perspective as we go forward. Anyway, so this news story comes to us from Comic Book Movie. Deadpool co-creator Rob Liefeld cuts ties with Marvel. Kevin Feige does not treat comic book creators well. So he's really, he's really feeling that Marvel have done him dirty, that he hasn't been respected, that he hasn't been treated well, especially when it comes to the Deadpool Wolverine movie, attending premieres, having photos with executives on the red carpet apparently destroyed and not shown publicly. And he's kind of making these claims, just Marvel treating him badly, basically. So let's get to this information. So Deadpool co-creator Rob Liefeld has very publicly severed ties with Marvel. He's worked with them on and off over 3 decades. However, after dropping a scathing new addition to his Robservations podcast, Liefeld has laid out his many issues with the studio in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, and they mostly seem to boil down to how he was treated at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere. So one of the biggest grievances was discovering that at the event that neither he or his family had been invited to an after party. Quote, "It was meant to embarrass, diminish, and defeat me," Liefeld bemoaned, sharing his disappointment that Disney allegedly deleted photos of him with the movie's creative taken on the red carpet. So he's saying that he basically wasn't invited to the after party, and that also photos of him on the red carpet with the Marvel creatives was also deleted. Whether this is true or not, like I say, as a fan perspective, we don't know if this is actually true, but this is the way that he feels. It was meant to embarrass, diminish, and defeat me. So that's how he feels. We can't take that away from him. If someone feels like that, that's how they feel. Whether Marvel intended to do that or not, I'm not really sure. That's very nefarious to make someone feel like that. Did Marvel do it on purpose? I mean, at the end of the day, they have the rights to the Deadpool character. They're not contractually obligated to invite Rob Liefeld to any parties, to any events, or anything like that. They don't have to do that if they don't want to. He's been paid for the work that he's done on Deadpool. He gets paid every time Deadpool appears in media. Marvel have, upheld their end of what they're supposed to do contractually when it comes to the Deadpool character. They don't have to invite him anywhere if they don't want to. So, on the one end of the coin, it's kind of like Marvel doesn't have to invite him to any parties, to any events, or anything that they don't want to. They're not contractually obligated to do that. But at the same time, it's kind of like if you're hosting a huge event around the Deadpool character, I mean, the least you could do is literally invite the guy who created the character. So I completely understand Rob Liefeld feeling the way that he does. You created a character that Marvel took, made billions and billions of dollars out of, and you can't even invite the creator to your after party. I mean, it feels a little bit petty on the surface, so I do get why he feels a bit embarrassed and diminished. I get what he's saying to a point, but then, like I keep saying, on the flip side, Marvel, they're not contractually obligated to do any of that stuff, to invite him anywhere if they don't want to. So there's kind of two sides to the argument here, really. So, while Liefeld points to deeper issues such as Marvel Studios' decision to give Marvel Comics editor Roy Thomas a co-creator credit on Wolverine, he's particularly upset about not getting a splashy credit at the beginning of Deadpool and Wolverine. Along with special treatment like invites to global premieres and promotional opportunities, money wasn't an issue because it sounds like he was paid handsomely. So, it sounds like he was paid handsomely for his efforts, it says. So, At the end of the day, Rob Liefeld, he feels diminished and all this kind of stuff because Marvel haven't invited him to premieres. They deleted photos of him on the red carpet and all this kind of stuff. And you start to feel bad for Rob Liefeld if this is in fact true, what he's saying, which we don't know if it is. We don't know how much is true. We don't know how much is kind of being embellished. So we have to bear that in mind. But if it is true, you start to feel bad for Rob Liefeld that he's being treated this way by Marvel. That is until this. So, we're going to go over to the Hollywood Reporter, and then you read this, and then you start to not feel so bad for the guy, right? So, Liefeld has a unique deal among creators at Marvel and DC. Some enjoy royalties for certain books and receive discretionary bonuses for movie and TV usage from companies. Marvel pays creators $5,000 for characters' movie appearances, for example, but Liefeld receives a payment every time Deadpool appears on screen, in merch, in video games, and comics. It's a deal that not even Stan Lee, the late co-creator of Spider-Man and Iron Man, benefited from. So, Rob Liefeld has a really handsome deal when it comes to the Deadpool character appearing in media. But not only that, this will make you feel even less bad for Rob Liefeld. It is likely that Liefeld has made between $10 million to $20 million off his creations and reputation as Deadpool's co-creator. So the guy has made up to $20 million with his Deadpool character and some other characters that he's made as well. $20 million. So Rob Liefeld is sat around complaining that Marvel haven't invited him to an after party for Deadpool and Wolverine, even though they're not contractually obligated to do that. The guy is sat in his house with up to $20 million off of his work of the characters and Deadpool that he's created. $20 million. I start to feel less bad for the guy now. He's got $20 million. Well, there's hardworking people all around the world who work 9 to 5, work ridiculous hours. You know, they struggle to make ends meet and put food on the table and, you know, pay for all their expenses. And this guy is sat with $20 million because he created some comic book characters. You start to feel less bad for him really quickly. That's my kind of take on it anyway. So, anyway, let's get back to this story quickly. I just wanted to go off on a side tangent there, because when people start to make millions and millions of dollars, and then they complain about things, it really boggles my mind. So, after sending a scathing email to Marvel, Liefeld was ignored, but told his agents that it wasn't appreciated. While the company has not shared a direct response to his comments from earlier today, one insider points to his previous attempts to diminish the role Fabian Nishi... I don't know how to say that, guys. The role that Fabian played in co-creating The Merc with a Mouth. While we respect what he's contributed, he does not respect what others have contributed, they note. So, despite only receiving a mention at the end of the credits, Liefeld has a store named after him in the movie's biggest action scene, and he was invited to visit the set. I mean, if Marvel wanted to diminish and kind of defeat and belittle Rob Liefeld, why would they put his name on a store in the movie, right? And why would they invite him to the set? They would basically not do any of those things. They would basically just not communicate with him, not talk to him, have nothing to do with him, and just send him a royalty check every time they use the Deadpool character, like they're contractually obligated to do. But they invite him to the set, they put his name on a shop in one of the biggest action scenes in the movie. So it's hard to take it seriously that they're kind of diminishing Rob Liefeld and, you know, belittling the guy. Without elaborating on why, he claims he has been made to feel unwelcome during his trip to London, and unlike Deadpool and Deadpool 2, he wasn't asked to be part of test screenings or the marketing team's work on Deadpool and Wolverine. Quote, Kevin Feige does not treat comic book creators well. That is my personal experience, Liefeld said on his podcast. Before telling the trade, do I think he can improve his relationship with comic creators? Yes. Yeah, I mean, that probably is the case. You got these multi-billion-dollar big corporation movie studios, and there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving things, and could they treat their creatives better? They probably could. There's probably room for improvement there. There's definitely room for improvement with the way they treat, you know, the CGI artists on movies, and right down to the bottom level of, you know, people just working on the set, everyday Joes who work on the set in the background. There's probably room for improvement to treat people better in any walk of life. You know, as human beings, we tend to not treat each other very nice in the way that we should. So I expect there is room for improvement when it comes to relationship with creators. Worth noting is the fact that Feige is often seen name-checking and meeting with comic creatives. He's even welcomed them to Daredevil Born Again panel at last October's New York Comic Con. Quote, you can't always share your hits. Sometimes you have to share your misses. This is one this one was a miss, as Liefeld. Still hurting from falling out. It was important for me to do a podcast so that people could hear my voice. You don't hear anyone who was angry. At times, it's hard to hide how sad I was. Deadpool 4 isn't officially in development as we write this. Yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds has come out and said that basically he wants to spend more time with family and that Deadpool movies take years to create, and he's not sure if he wants to, spend years away from his family again to create Deadpool 4. So we're more than likely going to see him as a supporting character going forward in the Avengers movies and the MCU going forward. Ryan Reynolds is expected to return as Wade Wilson in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, like I was just saying. It's unclear what the future holds in store for Liefeld, though his last Marvel Comics work drops this month. The guy is going to be fine. He makes money every time Deadpool is in a piece of media, a show, a movie, merchandising. He's got millions of dollars in the bank account. I don't feel all that bad for the guy, to be honest. I get the fact that he's complaining a little bit. Oh, I didn't get invited to the after party at Deadpool Wolverine, and I feel that they're not treating me right. But then you're sat there with stacks and stacks of cash and millions of dollars from your creation of Deadpool, so you can't feel that hard done by, in my opinion. But guys, that's kind of my take on it. Like I say, we weren't in the room, we haven't seen the communication, so it's hard to kind of comment on a story when we're not personally involved with the creatives or the Marvel execs. We don't exactly know where the truth lies in this story. Do you think Rob Liefeld has a case here for what he's saying, that he feels diminished by Marvel for not being invited to the after party at Deadpool and Wolverine, and kind of other things that he's been saying about Marvel mistreating him? Do you think he has a point to make, or do you kind of side with Marvel in the fact that they're not contractually obligated to invite this guy to anything? They pay him for the work that he's done on Deadpool, they give him the money and the royalties and the checks that he deserves, and apart from that, Marvel just aren't contractually obligated to do anything with this guy. They don't have to invite him, they don't have to talk to him, they don't have to really be involved with the guy. As long as they pay him for using the character, that's kind of all they need to do. So which side do you take in this argument here, guys? I'd be interested to get your take on this story. So jump down in the comment section and let us know your thoughts, comments and opinions down below. As always, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you hit the like button and consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't done so already. It goes a long way to supporting my content, so I always appreciate that. And I will see you in the next video.